As dawn breaks over Tehran in 2010, the city stirs to life with the rhythm of honking horns and impatient commuters. Office workers in crisp suits maneuver through crowded streets, while professors clutch their briefcases, lost in thought about the day's lectures. But the morning air is shattered by sudden blasts, explosions slicing through the usual hum of traffic. Vehicles spin to a halt, disabled by the violence. The atmosphere thickens with panic as silence grips the streets. Sirens wail in the distance, echoing the chaos. No public claim, no immediate message left behind. Yet a chilling pattern emerges. These targeted assaults are hitting key scientists linked to Iran's nuclear initiative, one after another. Tehran's government points towards Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, but the latter remains silent. This is a mission marked by precision targeting, deniable methods, a harrowing urban battlefield where every second counts and life hangs precariously in the balance. In the intricate world of Iran's nuclear ambitions, there exists a network of individuals whose expertise has shaped the trajectory of their program. These figures are not just names on a list, they are pivotal characters in a narrative that intertwines science, national pride, and international tension. Their contributions were vital to advancing Iran's nuclear capabilities, each playing a role that, when interrupted, sends ripples through the entire ecosystem. At a high level, Iran's nuclear program relies on a rich tapestry of institutions, including esteemed universities and specialized research centers, all focusing on various branches of nuclear science and engineering. The Islamic Republic has invested significantly in a structured approach to cultivate talent and innovation, with organizations supporting both theoretical and practical aspects of the nuclear landscape. This fertile ground nurtures experts who push the boundaries of what's possible in nuclear technology. Among these individuals is Mossad Ali Mohammadi, a theoretical physicist who was celebrated for his contributions to particle physics. His research offered essential insights into theoretical frameworks that underpin nuclear science. Ali Mohammadi wasn't just an academic, he was a bridge between the theoretical and practical realms, embodying the hope the program held for advancements. Unfortunately, he became a casualty in 2010. His assassination not only eliminating a brilliant mind, but also sending a clear message to others. Contributing to the program could come at a grave personal cost. Then there's Majid Shahriari, a nuclear engineer whose work focused on crucial elements like reactor design and safety. Shahriari played a role in ensuring the viability and security of Iran's nuclear facilities, making his contributions indispensable to the program's sustainability. His tragic fate, he too was targeted in a planned attack, underscored the precariousness of the situation, transforming what should have been a thriving nuclear career into a dangerous gamble. As we explore further, Feridun Abbasi Davani deserves mention. A steadfast figure who survived an assassination attempt, Abbasi Davani illustrates resilience in the face of adversity. Beyond his survival, he continued to advocate for the program, emphasizing the significance of maintaining technical prowess despite external threats. His survival transformed him into an almost symbolic figure, representing defiance against efforts to dismantle Iran's nuclear aspirations. In stark contrast, the story of Dariush Rezainerjad serves as an example of what's at stake. An electrical engineer involved in equipment procurement, Rezainerjad's work supported the intricate network of technologies that undergirded nuclear development. His assassination in 2011 didn't just remove a talented individual, it represented a strategic blow to Iran's procurement capabilities, amplifying the fear and uncertainty that pervaded the community. Mostafa Ahmadi Roshan, a deputy at Natanz responsible for procurement, was also targeted and ultimately killed. His role was essential in securing the materials and technology indispensable for operation, demonstrating just how intertwined human expertise is with nuclear functionality. The orchestration of these attacks revealed a chilling objective: to degrade the nuclear program systematically, strip away specific centers of knowledge, and instill a deep-seated fear within the scientific community. It's evident that these attacks were not merely about physical elimination. They sought to disrupt the entire climate of progress. By targeting key figures, attackers aimed to slow the timelines of Iran's nuclear ambitions, creating an atmosphere where innovation could not flourish unimpeded. Each loss reverberated beyond the individual, casting long shadows over the collective efforts and aspirations within Iran's nuclear ecosystem. We must understand this context not just in terms of statistics or geopolitical strategies, but through the lens of the human experience. Scientists who dedicated their lives to advancing a nation's ambitions, facing grave risks as they navigated a charged landscape. Their stories highlight a significant chapter in a broader narrative around nuclear proliferation, instilling a sense of tragic gravity in the pursuit of knowledge and national identity. In examining modern tactics employed by attackers, especially in urban environments, one striking pattern emerges: operations conducted in broad daylight. This isn't just a random occurrence, it's a carefully orchestrated strategy that plays on the characteristics of any typical day. Let's break down this consistent operational pattern and how it beautifully synchronizes with the chaos of urban life. Consider your average weekday morning. Streets are filled with commuters heading to work, sidewalks bustling with people grabbing coffee or rushing to catch the bus. In this environment, attacking under the cover of daylight provides not only proximity to the target, but also a myriad of potential witnesses, each absorbed in their own world, oblivious to the tension that is unfolding around them. Here, the timing is crucial. Attackers often strike just as the morning rush peaks, knowing full well that all eyes are distracted, making it difficult for any one person to notice suspicious activity. Imagine the scene. A motorcycle roars through the streets, cutting through the throngs with ease. These riders are trained, adept, and fully aware of the benefits of speed and maneuverability in heavily trafficked areas. They arrive quickly, slipping in and out of the crowd, all while remaining inconspicuous in their black attire and helmets. Their presence alone signals urgency, an expectation of swift execution and rapid escape. Now consider the device used in these attacks: a small magnetized gadget disguised and affixed to a target vehicle. Its size is deceptive, appearing innocuous amidst day-to-day vehicle interactions. Its placement is methodical, designed for maximum impact, just enough to evade immediate detection, yet powerful enough to achieve the goal. In the blink of an eye it's applied, and just as swiftly, the attackers are already merging back into traffic, disappearing into the web of daily life as if they were never there. This daylight approach serves a multifaceted purpose. First, it amplifies the shock value. A sudden violence in a bustling environment jolts onlookers, creating a sense of disbelief and confusion. Victims and witnesses alike are more likely to struggle with identifying assailants when chaos descends. On top of that, operating under the sun reduces the likelihood of drawing attention, as most individuals are focused on their routines, creating a blank slate for attackers to exploit. Discipline is at the heart of this strategy. The attackers remain exposed only for brief moments. The risks are controlled through a deep understanding of time and timing, relying on patterns of human behavior to shield their actions from scrutiny. There is no trace of aggression left behind, no lingering signatures of an attack that can connect them to the crime. Each operation is executed with an aim toward deniability. The attackers become mere shadows in a crowd. The net result? An increasingly sophisticated and frightening method of operation that not only emphasizes the attacker's preparation, but also speaks to our everyday experiences, thus making this topic all the more relevant and relatable. Understanding this type of tradecraft reminds us of the layers of complexity and strategy that linger just below the surface of our daily hustle. The first shocking blow in this series of events came in January 2010, when a blast erupted near the home of Mossad Ali-Mohammadi, an esteemed nuclear physicist in Iran. The sound of that explosion was more than just a physical shockwave. It rippled through the fabric of the academic community in Tehran, creating an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. Immediately following the blast, the media frenzy was relentless. Reports flooded in, but with each new article, the motivations behind Ali Mohammadi's assassination seemed to shift. What was once a clear narrative soon transformed into a muddle of competing theories. Some speculated that his death was a desperate act by foreign agents intent on undermining Iran's nuclear ambitions. Others claimed it was an internal power struggle, with various factions vying for control over the nation's scientific agenda. With each conflicting report, confusion reigned. Who was truly behind this attack? Was it a hostile government, or perhaps dissidents from within? This chaos played directly into the hands of those who orchestrated it. By pooling the uncertainties, they not only masked their identities, but also stoked paranoia. As the news of Ali Mohammadi's assassination made its rounds, the impact rippled outward, creeping into the daily lives of many academics and technical staff across Iran. Imagine the sudden awareness that one might be watched, scrutinized for every interaction and decision. This kind of anxiety isn't just a fleeting thought, it settles deep into the psyche. The once bustling, collaborative campuses morphed into arenas of suspicion, where whispered conversations held much heavier meaning. Faculty members began to eye one another with wariness, wondering who could be trusted. Were they too potential targets? The bustling streets of Tehran, previously filled with a vibrant spirit of academic exchange, slowly transformed. Drivers began to check under their cars before entering, considering the possibility of hidden explosives. Students altered their daily routes, avoiding familiar paths as if to sidestep the spectre of death lurking just around the corner. Security escorts became a common sight, an ever-present reminder of the pervasive anxiety that now defined the city. What was once merely a routine journey became a calculated risk. The repercussions of that single act of violence reached beyond just the immediate tragedy of losing a brilliant mind. It encapsulated the reality of life under perpetual threat, where the simple act of pursuing knowledge could lead to fatal outcomes. As academics grappled with their new realities, they were forced to confront not only their fears, but also the potential silencing of dissenting voices in their fields. The atmosphere was suffused with a chilling realization. Intellectual pursuit was no longer a safe haven. It was precariously intertwined with life and death. This first shock was not merely about the loss of Mossad Ali-Mohammadi. It marked the beginning of widespread psychological warfare against a community that once thrived on curiosity and free thought. Fears that had once seemed abstract quickly took on tangible forms, reshaping the very nature of scholarship in Iran. Those left behind could only question who would be next. How long could they continue their work under the watchful eyes of unknown adversaries? Through this dark lens, the profound impact of a single assassination began to reveal itself, instilling an enduring wariness that permeated the academic landscape in Iran. In November 2010, the bustling streets of Tehran bore witness to a chilling event that would shake the core of the Iranian scientific community and heighten fears of targeted assassinations. Two separate but intricately coordinated attacks aimed at two prominent nuclear scientists occurred almost simultaneously, marking a dramatic escalation in the ongoing covert war over Iran's nuclear ambitions. The first attack claimed the life of Majid Shahriyari, a distinguished physicist known for his work in nuclear technology. Witnesses describe the moment with haunting clarity. The explosion shattered the early morning tranquility. A motorcycle-riding assailant activated a bomb attached to Shahriyari's car as he drove through the city's busy streets. The blast was powerful, instantly killing him and leaving chaos in its wake. The ramifications rippled through Tehran's scientific circles, making the chilling message clear. Anyone involved in Iran's nuclear program was at risk. But the story doesn't end there. Just a few kilometers away, another scientist, Feridun Abbasi Davani, became the target of a similar assassination attempt. In stark contrast to Shahriari, Abbasi Davani survived, and his quick reflexes played a crucial role in his fate. As the bomb detonated, Abbasi Davani instinctively swerved his vehicle, narrowly escaping the blast that aimed to claim him as well. This duality in outcomes between the two attacks brought both fear and a strange sense of relief. The stark distinction between life and death in that moment wasn't just a matter of luck. It illustrated a complex narrative of risk, resilience, and the harrowing reality of living under threat. Abbasi Davani's survival meant that Tehran had gained a direct witness, an insider who could recount the methods employed by these professional assassins. This not only instilled a sense of urgency within the Iranian authorities, but emphasized a disturbing truth. Highly skilled operatives were maneuvering with impunity within the capital. The broader implications of Abbasi Davani's survival were significant. His testimony would shape the countermeasures taken by the Iranian government and its security apparatus. Understandably, Tehran ramped up its vigilance, keenly aware that if these operatives could execute such well-coordinated attacks amidst a crowded metropolis, their strategies could evolve quickly. Abbasi Davani became more than just a witness. He represented the vulnerability of Iran's strategic assets, and his experience catalyzed an immediate but chaotic scramble for protection among other scientists in the country. As weeks and months passed, the implications of these attacks rippled throughout Tehran, changing the atmosphere among not just scientists, but also the political landscape. This newfound awareness of an invisible enemy significantly altered the daily lives of those involved in Iran's nuclear endeavors. Conversations shifted, plans became more guarded, and the previously taken-for-granted safety of working in prestigious scientific institutions was irrevocably altered. Moreover, the assassinations intensified sectarian and geopolitical tensions. International observers questioned the involvement of foreign intelligence agencies in these operations, ruling out the possibility that such precision could originate from local groups. The attacks pointed to a cold, methodical approach that required planning, resources, and an intimate understanding of targets, qualities not easily conjured by mere dissidents. The events of November 2010 thus marked a pivotal moment in this covert conflict, amplifying fears and concerns within Iran while simultaneously demonstrating the high stakes of nuclear proliferation. It was no longer just a question of scientific development. Lives were on the line, and a single misstep could change everything. The stories of Dariush Rezainerjad and Mostafa Ahmadi Roshan represent more than just individuals. They are emblematic of a larger escalating conflict that has crept silently but insistently into the fabric of Iran's nuclear ambitions. Let's start with Dariush Rezainerjad. On the morning of July 23, 2011, the quiet air in Tehran's streets shattered as gunfire rang out just outside a kindergarten. What was meant to be a normal day quickly spiraled into chaos. Rezainerjad, a 35-year-old physicist, was targeted in broad daylight, a chilling reminder of the dangers faced by those involved in Iran's nuclear program. Witnesses described the panic as parents rushed to evacuate their children, their lives momentarily upended by the violent act that took Rezainerjad's. For many Iranians, this was not just an isolated incident, but a stark illustration of the stakes involved in their country's scientific pursuits. Rezainerjad's murder marked an unsettling development. It was more than the loss of a dedicated scientist. It sent ripples through Iran's nuclear program. News outlets were quick to respond, framing it as part of a broader campaign against Iran's nuclear efforts, with certain factions within the government alluding to foreign intelligence services being at play. This line of thought threw a veil of suspicion that further heightened tensions both within the country and globally. The Iranian leadership began to publicly dissect these events, arguing that outside forces were targeting not only their scientists, but their very sovereignty. Fast forward to January 11, 2012. A few months after the shocking assassination of Rezainerjad, Mostafa Ahmadi Roshan became the next casualty. An academic deeply involved in the enrichment of uranium, he was leaving work at Tehran's Natanz facility during rush hour when a motorcycle-borne explosive detonated. The attack transformed a bustling afternoon into a scene of horror and despair. Ahmadi Roshan, just 32 years old, was taken from the world within moments, leaving behind friends, family, and colleagues grappling with loss. As the dust settled, this second murder added urgency to the narrative that Tehran was both vulnerable and resolute in the face of external pressures. Clearly, with each attack, the Iranian government faced escalating challenges, not only to ensure the security of its scientific personnel, but also to maintain the forward momentum of its nuclear ambitions. Meetings were postponed and projects slowed as the atmosphere became filled with distrust. Imagine the fear and uncertainty of scientists now wary of the consequences of their work. The mind can't help but wonder how this fear might stifle innovation, whether new partnerships are forged or if the lines of communication are drawn tighter, breeding secrecy rather than collaboration. Beyond Iran, the reactions were multifaceted. International observers found themselves at a crossroads of opinions about the legitimacy of such actions. The line between legitimate state security measures and acts of sabotage blurred, prompting debates about legality, morality, and the overarching risk of escalation. While some advocated for a more aggressive stance against Iran's nuclear ambitions, others warned of the unintended consequences such actions might have, further entrenching divisions and possibly igniting broader conflict. This evolving situation has placed immense pressure on not just the Iranian regime, but also the global community, urging leaders to reconsider their strategies. Each assassination marks a pivotal moment in not just the lives of the scientists, but also in Tehran's public narrative. Fueled by anger and a push for sovereignty, Iranian voices began to rise, arguing not just for revenge, but for a united front against perceived external aggression. The cycle of violence, founded on insecurity and fear, seems to offer a bitter lesson. The path of scientific advancement may become overshadowed by the ever-present spectre of conflict. In the shadows of these targeted assassinations, the future of Iran's nuclear program hangs precariously, woven into a narrative filled with both ambition and dire consequence. As pressure mounts and risks escalate, one can only wonder what lies ahead for those who dare to navigate this complex and perilous landscape. Iran's response spectrum is multifaceted, focusing heavily on enhanced security measures to counter threats both from within and abroad. Picture the scene. Security convoys now regularly patrol sensitive areas, a visible reminder of the ongoing tension. To further protect key assets, authorities have instituted route randomization, ensuring that predictable patterns no longer make them easy targets. Each vehicle embarking on these missions faces rigorous inspections, a tedious yet necessary process to fend off potential sabotage. The presence of surveillance cameras has proliferated in urban areas, every corner now potentially under watch, every movement scrutinized. This shift isn't purely about deterrence, it's also about a heightened sense of vigilance that permeates everyday life. Alongside these efforts, increased counterintelligence sweeps are commonplace, as officials aim to root out any possible mole or dissident lurking in the shadows. These heightened security measures have been accompanied by a surge in public vows of retaliation against perceived enemies, leading to a narrative of resilience that state media regularly broadcasts. In a bid to assert control, the government showcases arrests of suspected spies or saboteurs, often accompanied by televised confessions that serve to reinforce the public's loyalty to the regime. The narrative spun often includes accusations of foreign support networks, planting the idea that external forces are responsible for internal unrest. However, this defensive posture comes at a steep cost. Resources that might have bolstered research and development in defense technology or bolstered intelligence vetting are now being redirected to maintain this tightening grip on security. You'll notice the consequences everywhere. Urban settings are dotted with more checkpoints, and a palpable atmosphere of fear seeps into the daily lives of citizens. Just imagine walking down the street, feeling an ominous weight, questioning who might be watching you. For members of the scientific community, the stakes are even higher. They now navigate a landscape fraught with anxiety, their work burdened by the pressure of national security, all while trying to innovate in a climate where creativity often feels stifled. The impact is profound and personal, stretching beyond the confines of government and into the very fabric of society. In the intricate arena of international relations, signals often speak louder than words. Take, for instance, the recent operations we've observed. Israel has not issued any formal claims, yet the silence surrounding its actions sends ripples of meaning around the globe. This careful modulation of public messaging is potent. It's not just about what is said or not said, but rather how the very act of silence can shape narratives and perceptions. This precision and selectivity imply a deeper strategy at play, fostering an illusion of omniscience and control. The understated nature of this campaign cultivates a facade of plausible deniability. By not openly claiming responsibility, Israel reduces the risk of diplomatic fallout that could escalate tensions with adversaries. Imagine being a regional leader, faced with public outrage over military responses, yet privately recalibrating your strategies, weighing the implications with every new development. It's a chess game where the players remain shrouded in ambiguity, constantly guessing their opponent's next moves. While citizens might rally in visible outrage, the quieter, often unseen conversations among state leaders reveal a different narrative. They watch closely, recalibrating their strategies based on subtle movements rather than loud declarations. This gap between public expressions and private assessments underscores a critical truth. In diplomacy, sometimes less is more. The silence becomes part of the strategy, endlessly complicating retaliatory measures and leaving adversaries in a perpetual state of uncertainty, where each action must be carefully considered against an array of possibilities. In this environment, every calculated silence becomes a tool, crafting not just a response but an ongoing story, one that unfolds quietly yet powerfully in plain sight. In today's world, where direct confrontations can escalate into devastating consequences, nations are more inclined to engage in what we call the wider shadow war. This arena is characterized by a complex web of covert competition, where states maneuver quietly in the margins. Imagine a chess game played not on the board, but in whispers, hidden actions, and the untraceable clicks of a mouse. Cyber disruptions have become a common tool in this strategy. Governments launch cyber attacks not just to disrupt critical infrastructure, but to undermine trust, sow confusion, and gather intelligence. These actions occur behind the scenes, where many remain unaware of the intricate battles unfolding. Sabotage incidents and the clandestine seizure of illicit technology serve a similar purpose, with states looking to hinder their rivals' advancements while protecting their own secrets. Sanctions, too, play a critical role in this shadowy conflict. They exert pressure without the need for military engagement, affecting economies and citizen livelihoods. However, the risks are palpable. Every overt action presents an opportunity for retaliation, exposing hidden capabilities and strategies that many nations would prefer remain under wraps. The interplay of intelligence, law enforcement, and cyber tactics creates an environment where timelines are shaped not by bombs or armies, but by the subtle dance of covert actions and reactions. In this world, victories can be fleeting, and often successes remain unacknowledged. Each side knows that to reveal too much risks compromising their own positions, turning each subtle maneuver into a high-stakes gamble that keeps security analysts and policymakers on edge. As the dust settles from operational failures, the impact reverberates through organizations. Personnel losses shatter team cohesion, while delays stall crucial initiatives. The heightened security posture creates an environment thick with anxiety, stifling recruitment and retention. In a world where professionals execute their duties in plain sight, they leave behind a silence that speaks volumes. No speeches, no credit, only results. As a new Tehran morning arrives, drivers check their mirrors, navigating a city that has learned to endure uncertainty.